All right, I'm back. Figured it out quicker. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. All right, guys. Hopefully, everybody had a pretty good day today. Lots to go over. I'm trying to stream on Rumble right now, too. Hopefully, that's working. I've never really used Rumble before, so I don't know if that's. I'm going to click on something real quick here and just see if it shows. It might start playing for a second. I don't think it's working. Oh, it says one viewer waiting. I don't think it worked. We'll figure that out later. Whatever. But a big day today in the market. So the S&P hit new all-time highs. Economic data was okay. We're looking at 50 bips priced in. If we look at the CME Fed Watch tool, it looks like there's a 2-to-1 odd of that happening. And small caps of all things today outperformed both the NASDAQ and the S&P. Just a few highlights of what's been happening here. Very good stuff. Let's see here. Dan24 up says, please take a look at Hertz. Maybe great options play, been beat up a bunch. Maybe. Let's see here. We got Justin. Jesse, do you think mortgage rates continue to go down? Oh, yeah. With rates coming down, mortgage rates will go down a bunch. House at the peak rates, but got 25,000 below asking. My lender says I should refinance now, but unsure. You could refinance, but the rates are going to keep going down, and they're going to come down aggressively over the next year. So the real question is, with all the fees they tack onto your mortgage, is it worth doing? But yeah, I would wait personally. Maytag, yo Jesse, love the market open and recap lives. Keep up the great work. Hit the like button, everybody. If you guys could do that, that would be wonderful. But let's get into it, man. It's been a day. I think this hasn't really settled yet. Options take a while, and I've got a lot of them. But I think I'm up about 50K today. Not a bad day. It was better earlier. But again, I think we had a lot of impulses letting us know what's going to happen tomorrow if people like what the Fed has to say. And I think they're going to. So I think it's just a signal ahead of time that we're headed that way. Big movers today, though. It looks like DLO, of all things, went up the most. My options play in that, which I'm down a lot, 49%. So, I mean, it's nice to have it come back around. Also up 8,000 on ARKG, looking better on that one, down 33%. Again, options will beat you up, but when they come around, boy, do they come around. Bitfarms up today, 3%. Looks like ETH's up 3. I barely even hold that. Iron up almost 4% today. Loving that, even though I only had like a close to $10,000 position. And PayPal up 1%. That's great. Made a little bit off that options contract. And again, Tesla up 0.5, SoFi up 0.62. I think these are all great looking charts, and I think we're going to be going a lot higher. Let me roll through some things real quick here. So let's go over and look just at a recap of what the heat map looks like for today. So NVIDIA ended up down, Tesla up 0.5. A few other sectors, health technology didn't do great. And again, in the whole like chip sector didn't really do superb today too. And if you look at Oracle, you can see it in technology services. Some of those got hit too. So really a lot of health service, health technology, communications, and a little bit of the chip sector didn't do very great. That said, the rest of the market did pretty wonderful. Let's look at crypto. Crypto, not a bad 24 hours, gotta say. It's looking pretty good over here. Bitcoin being the biggest bouncer with Ethereum coming second. Will Ethereum bounce more? It's for the first time in a while, it's outcompeting Solana. Just off of a rebound play, it could go up a lot. Stocks, guys, will probably do closer to the end. So if you could save some of it until then, I think that's a better way to address it. It'll just be smoother for everybody. Real quickly, let's keep running through things. So again, the S&P today, beautiful looking S&P. Retracted a little bit. I don't care. Is it still underneath there just waiting to break out? Yes, it is. But it had its impulse. It wants to do it. It looks like it's going to do it. And I think that's what we see tomorrow when the Fed starts lowering rates. And it might not be instantaneously. It doesn't really matter. But the S&P up 0.03% today. NASDAQ, again, same kind of thing, looking to push through. Came really close, up 0.05%. I think we're going to get that tomorrow. Russell, as long as Papa Powell plays nice, up 0.74%. Now, I love the fact that one of the more speculative, interest rate conscious sectors is starting to pump. That's what you want to see. If people thought the world was falling apart, small caps would definitely not be the leading index. I can tell you that much. Let's jump into gold. Gold down 0.53% today, sitting at a whopping 34% upside roughly. for where it was 13 years ago. This thing is so boring. It never goes anywhere. And again, it already had its big impulse. I think it's Bitcoin's turn to do that now. Oil. So the oil was a little bit up and then it came down. But yeah, it looks like we're landing right now down 0.62% on the day. The question is, will we end up rolling over or will we end up bouncing higher? I think if Kamala Harris looks likely to win the presidency, we're going higher because she is not pro-energy. She's pro renewable energy and other forms of it, but history tells us that she is not going to try and just produce tons of oil. Not that Biden didn't. Actually, we're at record oil production right now. I want to be clear. It's just that she does not have that same stance, and she is very much a part of the green energy New Deal kind of world, and that's not going to be great for energy prices dropping. Now, if Trump's saying that he's going to lower energy prices by over 50% in the first year, definitely would give this thing a rollover, which again, since this is a base cost of everything, it benefits the whole economy if that ends up happening. If we look at the MOVE index, the volatility index for bonds, we continue to see it creeping lower and looking like it wants to roll over. We'll see if it does that. We'll see if it screams higher. Right now, arguably, you could make a case that we could be seeing, well, you can't even really say this is an ascending triangle because it didn't do that. If anything, this just really looks like it wants to roll over. If we draw this line over here, you can see this, and it doesn't have to. From a technical standpoint, this kind of looks like something that wants to break higher, but it had that opportunity. Now it's grinding this way. So theoretically, it is an either or. It could go in both directions because, again, you could almost call this a bull flag, even though you have these impulses way higher and they're wicking down hard, showing pressure when it tries to go up. It could do that. Though, tomorrow is going to be the day where if this thing does try and creep higher, it's probably going to be tomorrow. Again, the Fed's going to be doing their thing. The rate decision's at 1:30 is going to be the meeting. I'll start broadcasting a little bit before 1 o'clock so that we can be abreast of what's going on and we can talk it out in real time. Started making the Discord today. Going to keep moving towards that. It looks like Discord fees are probably close to half of what YouTube charges because YouTube gets really crazy, especially if people sign up to on mobile using iOS, because then I get fucked by iOS fees and YouTube fees, and that could be as high, as far as I can tell, as 55 to 60% of the membership fee, along with 55% of the ad revenue. So it's just like, it's hard for creators to make money on YouTube with those kind of numbers, or I should say it's easy for YouTube to make money with those kind of numbers. In the future, I think decentralized entities like that, or something like X, where they're only taking anywhere from 3 to 10% of the revenue from the advertising, is going to prevail. Anyway, nonetheless, let's keep moving on. So bonds, if we look at the 2-year, and again, guys, I'll get to comments just in a second. You can throw things out there though, but I would refrain from stocks just yet. 2 years started to go up a little bit, or I should say the yield went up, which means people were selling it a little bit. So up 1.24% on the day, nothing crazy. I'm willing to bet our inversion. Oh, no, we're still above. We're still uninverted. I was going to think it dropped, and it did drop, but it's not enough to count. So we're not inverted yet, but I do think we'll get there. Also, and I don't even know, did I look at the dollar? I feel like I scraped over it. No, I didn't. I skipped over it. What am I thinking? So before we get to the Japanese yen, we got to look at the dollar. So again, hanging on, hasn't quite touched the 200 moving average. Got a little reprieve and started breaking up today. So I still think it's going to roll over and we're going to see a crush on the 200 moving average. Tomorrow's going to be a pivotal day, though. If the Fed doesn't do well on messaging tomorrow, then maybe we could see this thing breaking a little bit higher and gaining in strength. Don't want to see it. Fed doesn't want to see it, so I don't know why they would do anything so crazy. If we look at the dollar and the Japanese yen, we can see that the dollar gained strength against the yen again today, up 1.18%. Nothing crazy, though. Nothing to worry about with the Japanese yen carry trade. The Chinese yuan. My daughter must be home. I can hear her above my head jumping around like a maniac. Cool. Anyway, the U.S. dollar against the yuan looks like it's flat on the day. Nothing too crazy or interesting to see there. Put calls. Did people start dialing into puts? No, they didn't. Actually hitting fresh lows. Isn't that interesting? Nobody's shorting this market. So again, we had that impulse spike higher, but people aren't trying to gather insurance, so they're not pessimistic right now. That's fascinating. Let's real quickly see where Bitcoin landed, and then we'll jump into some other economic data points. We're going to try and roll through the first part of this stuff as much as we can. So again, near that 60,000 mark. I love that. I said the other day, I think this is our new base. I still strongly believe that. We'll see what happens. Technically, you could get some kind of rollover here. Again, it's all dependent upon the Fed. I don't think we're going to see it though. All right, so let's jump to some other things real fast. So the U.S. economic data, like I was talking about earlier, if we look at this, the retail sales year over year was expected or forecast for 2.2%. We only got 2.1. But when you look at the monthly numbers, ex autos, it looks pretty good. Retail sales month over month, we got a 0.1 when we were supposed to have a forecast of negative 0.3 and negative 0.2 for consensus. So if you get rid of some of the auto stuff here that performed weaker, X autos and X gas autos month over month, if you get that part out of this equation, retail sales actually look pretty good. And I'm not too surprised to see retail still struggling. There's a huge glut of used inventory, especially in the ICE car market, just a ton of it. Again, guys, hit the likes if you would. That would be greatly appreciated. It's awesome when you support the channel. And I'm bummed that I didn't get Rumble to work. I'll have to figure it out. All right, anyway. So outside of retail sales, Redbook year over year, still a strong number, not as strong as the previous 6.5, but we did come in at 4.6. It kind of looks like a big drop here, but if you zoom out, it really doesn't. It looks like an upward trend, and it still looks beautiful, so we're happy about that. That is like 9,000, I think. I always give it the wrong number. Let me actually just look. I think this is 8,000 or 9,000 retailers. Sampling size, 9,000 stores, yep, which makes up about an equivalent of 80% of the equivalent official retail sales services collected and published by the U.S. Department of Commerce. So retail still looks strong. I don't know, not a lot of depressions coming with a strong retail environment, one that's trending higher. At least I haven't seen them. Industrial production month over month is a good number. It's 0.8% when it was forecast at 0.2 and 0.2 for consensus and forecast. Capacity utilization was 0.1% higher than we saw for forecast and consensus. These are all great numbers. Let's look at capacity utilization. We'll look at the other industrial number for the year over year in a second. I just don't like to waste a lot of time on it. But again, so you can see here, it looks less impressive when you look at it here. Outside of 2008, massive collapse. And then again, industrial coming back, but dipping under the 77 mark, going back up. And then in 2018, really industrial was in decline. We had the pandemic. We had a really huge bounce. Now we're trying to find our footing. Could it weaken even more in the future? I think it could, but I don't think that's a big deal right now, and I don't think markets are paying attention to it. Now, the manufacturing production number, month over month too, we were expecting 0.3% of the forecast, but we got 0.2, so a little bit weaker than expected. But if you look at manufacturing going back several years here, guys, we were in the negative or just barely surviving for a long time. We've whittled away our manufacturing sector like crazy over the years. It makes up a lot less than it used to be. We're a service-based economy now. So not too much really to pay attention to there, even though I do think if Trump gets elected, the expense opportunities and the tax savings that companies are going to have for moving their manufacturing back to the U.S. Could be really beneficial, especially if we end up keeping some of the illegal immigrants that came to the country, which I think will end up having to happen. In order to fill some of these jobs. Again, we'll get rid of the bad guys for sure, but I do think that if he gets elected, we're going to end up keeping a decent amount to fill jobs because there's going to be opportunities for everybody if we're pulling a bunch of manufacturing back. Business inventories. 0.2% forecast, 0.3% consensus. We ended at 0.4. Really not too much to report on this. It's a month-over-month number. I like year-over-year better. But inventories aren't getting crazy. They're pretty much in nominal terms, like the normal levels that we would see. So nothing really to see there. NHB housing market index. So it looks like this is a number that came in a little bit later in the morning. I don't know how I missed it actually. So it came in at a 41. Forecast was 40. Consensus was 40. And what does that mean? It says the NHB Wells Fargo Housing Market Index rose to 41. Let me see. There's a descriptor down below. I just want to make sure I don't bastardize what this is. Housing Market Index, or HMI, is based on a monthly survey of home builders. They're asked to rate current sales of single-family homes and sales expectations for the next 6 months and to rate traffic of prospective buyers. Scores for responses to each component are used to calculate a seasonally adjusted overall index, where a number of over 50 indicates more builders view sales as good than poor. So 50 is expansion. Anything that under that is contraction. So right now we saw a number of 41. So it's not the most ideal number that we want to see. But again, if you go back here in the data, you'll see that we've been grinding along the bottom for a while. And when with rates going lower, we can see existing homes opening up. We could see the market starting to open up, and we could see prices becoming more competitive. And I think that will move a lot. Let me see here. Anything else? Retail inventories ex autos was basically completely flat. So when you subtract auto inventories, haven't really grown, which is good. I think that's it for that. And again, we'll just roll through this, and then I'm going to start hopping to the chat now, guys. But if you look here, CME Fed Watch Tools, 65% versus 35. I think that's still the number. Let me just refresh one more time. Make sure. Yep. So 65-35. So about a 2-to-1 odd that we're getting that 50 bips tomorrow. And if we look over here on CNN Business Fear Greed Index, we're almost into greed, but still into neutral territory. If we look at the alternative index for crypto, we're still seeing a 33, which is very much in the fear category, not even into neutral status. So crypto hasn't even woken up yet, guys. Let's look at the layoff calendar and just make sure that we don't see layoffs getting out of control. And then, again, we'll jump into the chat. We'll go through X. Feel like we're making pretty good progress. And we will look at charts shortly after that. Let's see here. I don't see anything new. That Microsoft layoff of the gaming department division was really the big stuff. We haven't seen anything since that. Isn't that interesting? Let me just make sure I'm sorting by date here. Earliest, latest. Oh, yeah, nothing new. That's still the same. Okay, cool. So that looks good. We're liking that a lot. Let's see broader commodities, how we're doing today. And then I'll get to chat, and we'll go from there. All right. Commodities up. UK gas, TTF gas. So it looks like Europe is seeing increases in gas. The United States is seeing increases in gas. Oil is coming up. So again, commodities going up, propane going up. But they've had year over year, you can see some pretty large drops in all of this stuff. So this isn't too crazy. Just got to figure out who's getting elected in the next 6 weeks. And if we look over here, if we sort by year over year, we can see lithium has plummeted off the face of the earth. Not a lot going on in the rest of the metals. Agriculture, we're seeing increases. Let's just do this. Let's do year over year here too. So cocoa, again, coffee is just outrageous. Butter high, coffee high, orange juice high, potatoes high. Year over year, all these things are really high. Let's dial into a couple of them real quick though. So again, yes, it is high, but could it be higher? For cocoa, yes. Let's see. Oh, that moved on me. Where'd you go? Let me sort by year over year again. I hope it doesn't do that every time. That's annoying. Butter. Let's look at butter. Butter is crazy and going up. New all-time high. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to have to sort it every time. I hate that. Let's look at coffee. We know is already near all-time highs. Let's look at orange juice. So there's a number of these commodities where they are agricultural. Like, look at that. Orange juice is insane, guys. I never drink orange juice. Can't stomach it. Literally. I'm glad I can't. It's expensive. So again, we're seeing inflation across agriculture, a decent amount. And there's different reasons for some of that. But again, if you look at some of these like sugar, soybean, and canola and oats, you could see them going in the opposite direction. So there's, does it balance out? No, I'd still say there's more inflation in agriculture than not inflation in agriculture. But energy coming down to some of these others are probably a good sign. At least offsetting some of this since they're base cost to so many things. If we look here, industrial, it's kind of a mixed bag of nuts. Today it's up. Livestock, year over year, eggs are still stupid. But in the monthly, we've seen it come down. Let's see, what are we at now? I haven't looked at this stuff in a while, so I'm kind of doing this for my own leisure too at the same time. So eggs were coming back around too. So again, inflation and food, that's where we're really seeing it. So if we elect Trump, guys, I think we see a reduction in that because if nothing else, the base costs for energy and getting it there are going to get a lot better. And I think some of the employment costs will get better too. Let's jump. Andrew said, I love that you stream on X now. Tony Naguyan on YouTube said, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone got a huge gains today. I didn't get huge, but I think I'll end up at about 50K. Let's see, though, where this is sitting. It says 30 still, but I think my screen's frozen, so I might have to refresh it later. Yeah, probably. All right, let me just keep going through comments here. And while I'm doing that, I'm actually going to bring up Bitcoin and just let that ticker run so we can see how it's playing out. Again, above 60. Now we're at 60,160, so it's getting a little bit of a bump after market. Dougie Fresh says, SBIT, after everyone screaming for higher, feel like it works every time. I'll have to take a look here. Alex Garcia, hey, Jesse, could you check AMD? And then he said, my bad. No, I can. No, I can. Jayco, hey, Jesse, thanks for your market commentary. Thoughts on MicroStrategy options? I haven't looked at them in a while. We could probably do that maybe near the end of the stream. Christian Soto, everyone's saying sell the news. Yeah, well, if everyone's saying it, it's probably not going to be that, right? Needs 55, late to the game. Hope everyone is having a great day. Mop 74, will the market pump or dump tomorrow? What's your thoughts? I think it's going to pump, but it doesn't have to happen right away, and it's very dependent upon what Powell says tomorrow. So make sure you check out for that 1 o'clock stream Central Time. Freedom Fighter 1, 55% for a YouTube feed. Geez, I didn't realize that Kamala Harris is the CEO of Google nowadays. Nope, but there's plenty of communists that run it, so you got that going for you. Charles DR, looks like shorts targeting miners. Maybe. There's always that. The miners, again, they're underperforming today. I wouldn't make too much out of it. Charles Disease Kodak, you said there's not much new puts being added today or recently. Would that be bullish or bearish? I think that's bullish because I think people are questioning whether or not the market's going to pump tomorrow, but they aren't buying a lot of insurance. So I don't know. It all depends. There's a lot of psychology that goes into all of that. I think, though, it's bullish. Christian Soto, BITF chart. Yep, we could take a look at that. Sal Powell, thoughts on investing based on whale accumulation of stocks like Danny Chain 2022. I don't know. You'll have to reference. Are you saying like a recent post that he put up? I haven't followed Danny in a while. I don't get as much time to follow other content creators as I want. Original Capital, going all in on butter. Yeah, there you go. Tulip Mania, love the name, by the way. Can you take a look at Elf, please? Sure. Michael Myers, ha ha ha. Jesse Nguyen is pronounced win. Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. That is cool. All right, so let's get to it. So again, let's roll through. We'll roll through the Bitcoin, some of the Bitcoin stocks, and then we'll roll through my stocks, and then we'll kind of go through some news events too as we're looking each one. Let's do it that way. MicroStrategy. Today down 2.42%, but in after hours popping 0.42. This isn't really much of a move. It did retrace. It's underperforming Bitcoin. That's okay. People just aren't applying multipliers yet. They do that when they're irrationally exuberant. I think that's well on its way. Let me just change this color to a bright green. All right, cool. And let's go to Mara. Mara up 0.19%, well, flat on the day and up 0.19% in after hours. So again, Mara, like I've said before, some of the bigger dogs are the ones to run. And as far as miners go, Mara is the biggest dog, and it looks like it's doing all right. It's staying flat on the day. Again, we had kind of this tweezer bottom. You can see where it's touched the 100 a few times. I think we're getting ready to spring load. We'll know for sure tomorrow, guys. By 1:30, we're going to have some indication. If nothing else, by market close, we'll have some indication of what the market thinks. Albeit knee-jerk can always be different, so you can get faked out. So it's going to be really important just to understand the nuance of tomorrow. CleanSpark up 1% when including after hours. Not a horrible number, I would argue. Cypher, it looks like flat on the day when including after hours. So again, decent recovery in the later part of the day. BITF, I got to update my button still. That's the thing I forgot to do. Just got a lot going on. BITF up 3% on the day, but up 2.5% if you include after hours where it retraced a little bit. Still a great number, still down about 50% from where it was as early as February of this year. Jesse, Andy Zhao says 50 or 25 BIP cut tomorrow. What do you think, Jesse? I think all the Democrats voicing 75 was trying to basically prepare us, not just Democrats, but a lot of organizations that, would be commenting on CNBC, most of them liberal in nature. I'm trying to watch how I word this here so I can be as politically correct as possible, even though that's not my specialty. But yeah, I would say that it's probably going to be 50. I think that's smart. If they do, I think 25 is too low. I think we should have started rate cuts a while ago. I believe truflation's 1% number. And we don't want to go into deflation. The money printer's got to go per. So I think maybe talk tomorrow of not running off the balance sheet in the future, like maybe halting the runoff on the balance sheet and 50 bips. That's my bet. Doesn't have to play out that way though. Never does. All right, so that's the Bitcoiners. Let's jump real quickly. So let's look at Bitcoin related news. Actually, let's do U.S. economic. I kind of glossed over that. I do want to talk about it. So a few different points. This guy is very Republican, but I think the point is still is an interesting one. It says breaking Mike Johnson. So it attaches the SAVE Act to the spending bill. Hold the line, SAVE Act, or shut it down. I do believe that government is going to shut down in October on the 1st. So we got a lot going on, guys. Tomorrow we got the Fed rate cut. October 1st, we have the government being shut down. And then we have an election a month later, potentially with the government shutdown. I'm not sure what that looks like. That might be a reason to reopen government. But there's going to have to be some concessions made to make that happen. It's just going to be a wild time in the next 6 weeks. Mike Alford also says, breaking, Elizabeth Warren and a cabal of far-left politicians with the collective economic IQ of a warthog. I like Mike Alford, I'm not going to lie, have called for the Fed to lower interest rates by 75 basis points in a good economy after earlier blaming inflation on greedy corporations. Apparently, the irony escaped them. And it is ironic, and it's funny as hell. All right, let me see here what else we got for comments. We will look at some of these others. If somebody could compile the list of stocks kind of closer to the end here, that would be amazing. And what we'll do probably going forward, guys, is I think the best way to orchestrate it where I'm not having to run back in the chat and I can kind of keep up in real time would be to queue up the stocks you want to look at after I get like through some of the economic data and through the things we just went through and the regular stocks. Then, you can start like when we're getting to the latter part of that, of the stocks I like to go to, like maybe by ARKG, it might be a good idea to get your stock request out there so you can look for it. Or, a little bit earlier or whatever. But that's probably going to be better so I don't have to go way back in the feed. All right, let me see here. Looks like shorts. Oh, yeah, we already said that. BITF, going all in on butter. Let me see, where do we end up here? What do you think about Fed cut 50? Yeah, I think it's going to happen, Juicy. Or Husey? I don't know. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Don said, like your market insights review of NVIDIA. Yeah, I can do that. Dougie Fresh 69, 570 SPY this week. Very possible. Alex Garcia, the important fact would be Powell inciting a stream of rate cuts in the following months, which I think will happen. He's going to do that no matter what. He's going to say we're going to keep probably doing 25s until we feel like we're at the right level. But what I would like to see him do is be like, hey, you know what? We think the economy's good, but we want to start, we want to start pulling back on our restrictiveness of the market. So we went ahead and did 50 on the first one just so we can mark and signify that change. They'll do something dramatic like what they did when inflation was transitory and then it wasn't. And then saying, but we'll probably continue a pace of 25. We'll be data dependent, yada, 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 yada. All the stuff he likes to say. But it'll be fun to see. Thanks, Needs 55. You're stud. Alex Garcia, the important fact would be for Powell. Oh, no, we already said that. James Harold, what's your thoughts on the potential impact of yen interest rate hike this week? I don't think it matters. I think we've got swap lines pretty well established between Japan and the United States. And so, and I don't even know. I don't know if they will. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Do you know what date that happens on? What date they're looking at doing it? I can check in the economic calendar if you don't, off the top of your head. Also, Invest Answer said, hey, the S&P 500 hit new all-time highs. Markets are soaring as the 50-bip rate cut fuels optimism. Are we in for a bull run? I think we are, and I put this is before the Fed cuts rates. Things get really crazy after that happens, as long as Papa Powell says the right things like we just talked about, which he will in an election year, and I agree. If you look historically, also after the election has happened, the next year outperforms dramatically. So that's the U.S. economy. I'm going to jump down into the Bitcoin stuff since we just covered the charts on that. All right, so this is a shrine to Satoshi Nakamoto, and it just says, this is literally Satoshi's like goodbye. He said, I've moved on to other things. Bitcoin is in good hands. April 23rd of 2011. Very cool. And it seems to have been. Tyler Winklevoss wants you to know that you need to vote for Donald Trump. He said, it's time to win our country back. The future of America depends on it. And it just has Jeff Tiller, Bitcoin OGs, Cameron and Tyler have led the pack in this 2024 election cycle, supporting individual candidates and organizations who promote Bitcoin and crypto adoption. That's not Kamala. And who are committed to voting for legislation that provides clear guidelines and guardrails for growing. And that's what they're doing. And I think they're patriots for doing it too. Also, here is another interview, a recent one from Larry Fink. And he's talking about his $10 trillion BlackRock CEO. And he said that he was wrong about Bitcoin and that he thinks it is the investment that everybody should be in. And his words are 100% true. Whether you like this guy or not, he is 100% right on the side of history right now. And I do not believe they have the ability to control the price of Bitcoin. It will be going higher.
Now, I know you have been a leader in willing to embrace crypto. You have made it so that people can be in Bitcoin. We hear that you are thinking about Ethereum. These are incredible things. Now, BlackRock is not known as a gunslinger by any means. So you obviously must believe that this maybe is an alternative. Is this an alternative in order to be able, because of a deficit, maybe something long-term people should have?
Absolutely. As you know, I was a skeptic.
Yes.
I was a proud skeptic. And I studied it, learned about it, and I came away saying, okay, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion today. This is what I believe in today. I believe the opportunity today. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I'm not trying to say there's not misuses like everything else, but it is a legitimate financial instrument that allows you to have maybe uncorrelated, non-correlated type of returns. I believe it is an instrument that you invest in when you're more frightened, though. It is an instrument when you believe that countries are debasing their currency.
They are debasing their currencies. You should be frightened of the debt that the world has right now.
Debasing their currency by excess deficits, and some countries are. I believe we have countries where you're frightened of your everyday existence.
I mean, that's almost turning into, that seems like the UK, and it seems like other countries, and it seems like it might be the United States on just what you could say. So much freedom of speech stuff. I'm going to be doing another video after this one, guys, around 4:45. It's going to talk about election news and polling, and you should check it out. But not even just that. It's the stuff that's coming out of the Democratic Party right now in regard to censorship, shutting down sites like X. It's heavy, and they're prepping for it, so you better be ready.
And if you have an opportunity to invest in something that is outside your country's control, then you can have more financial control. And so I'm a major believer that there is a role for Bitcoin in portfolios. I believe you're going to see that as one of the asset classes that we all look at. I look at it as digital gold, as I said before, and I do believe there's a real need for everyone to look at it as one alternative to, I would say, the optimism that I have in the world. If you want to hedge hope, Bitcoin is not an instrument for hope unless you're hopeful you're going to make a lot of money on it. But I look at it as a vehicle in which you're expressing your financial acumen in something that you're more frightened of the world, you're more frightened of your existence. And I believe there's a great industrial use for it. And I think a lot of people are missing that.
We don't care about what Jim Cramer says, but I do disagree what he was saying with there. So no matter what, with the money printer going burr, and with just the fact we have this constant reduction in supply, and the money printers going burr all around the world with over 300% debt to GDP around the world on average, a bunch of countries aren't going to be able to fix their problems with their currency. Whether we can is still up for debate. And we don't have a lot of time to do it. So Bitcoin is, if you're scared, and it's just no matter what going up. That's the only point where I would disagree with Larry Fink in regard to his statement. The Wolf of All Streets, let me just zoom out one click. So the Wolf of All Streets, I love this guy. He's a DJ slash Bitcoin investor and podcast guy now, but he's great. His name's Scott Melker. He said DBS Bank introduces BTC and ETH options trading for institutional clients. Singapore's DBS Bank will introduce over-the-counter crypto options and structured notes for institutional clients starting Q4 2024, so the latter part of this year, focusing on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and the products will allow clients to hedge against crypto volatility and manage their digital asset portfolio with advanced strategies. DBS aims to provide trusted, institutional-grade access to digital assets in an expanding Web3 infrastructure with initiatives like DBS, treasury tokens, and blockchain-based government sources or grants. So again, this is just another positive thing happening in the space where you're seeing institutional adoption. All right, so real quick, this one says, I think I did this one this morning too, but I'll just talk to it. In case you guys don't know, in yesterday's stream, if you missed it, MicroStrategy started doing a $700 million offering again after just buying $1.2 billion in Bitcoin 2 weeks ago. They're not fucking around. This is just referencing an article from another company. I don't even know the name of. I don't know this company. It's what are they called? Cathedra Bitcoin miner, whoever that is. Anyway, they're trying to adopt a similar strategy to MicroStrategy. I believe there's going to be tons of those in the future. And real quickly, I'll just cover a couple other notes that I covered this morning in the market open. Where we saw $1 billion in Tether printed on the Ethereum network, getting ready for what's happening tomorrow. That usually is a positive sign. We also see addresses sending BTC exchange to exchanges hit an 8-year low. Balance on exchanges are really low too. So again, these are just more signs that we're ready and have rocket fuel. Bhutan holds about 55% of the Bitcoin that Mara does. That's a nation state mining Bitcoin. El Salvador has about half of what they have right now. Yeah, I think that's about it. There's so many catalysts, guys. This is just a couple, but it says double rate cut in 2 days, less than 2 days. Michael Dell tweeting about Bitcoin, only 450 BTC mined per day. MicroStrategy buying 900 million more after doing 1.2 billion. 16 billion in cash coming to FTX creditors where they can buy their Bitcoin in crypto again. They're probably going to buy Bitcoin. Russia to allow mining from November 1st on. 370,000 BTC taken off exchanges since February. So that's a big deal. When BTC is taken off exchanges, guys, it means that there's less sell orders readily available to close out of their positions as the price goes up. So you can get these sweeping, massive upticks in Bitcoin price because there's not enough and you run out. Anyway, that's about it. And again, MicroStrategy is going to make so much money. Everything Michael Saylor does turns into more money when it comes to Bitcoin. So that is it for the Bitcoin side of the news. Real quickly here, I'm going to jump over into Tesla as we look up that ticker. So the ticker today, we closed up 0.5%. Again, we did touch for the second time in the last couple of weeks. We touched the next fib line up here, which is beautiful. And again, getting real close to that breakout zone of the green line over here. I should probably turn that red because it is technically a resistance line right now. It is not very supportive. But I think Tesla is getting ready to just rock it. And I think the fact that it was up by a couple of percent earlier in the day is just representative of what it wants to do tomorrow, as long as Papa Powell plays ball. Now, if we hop over here real quick, I want you to see this real fast. It's only 40 seconds. It talks about the Tesla semi program. So here we go.
To date, we have driven more than 7.5 million kilometers with the pilot Tesla semi fleet.
Sorry for the audio.
Now, this is not the most number of miles by a heavy-duty fleet. Again, I applaud all the work the other areas are doing. They're doing great work. But why are we proud of this number? It's because we've done it with a relatively small number of trucks in a relatively short period of time. And it's because of high efficiency and high range and megawatt charging that is possible. Just as a data point, we have a truck in our fleet that is less than a year and a half into operations. It has driven more than 400,000 kilometers. Those are not simulated, those are not accelerated, those are real world miles. And those have been all done at North American gross vehicle weight limits to enable 15 million ton kilometers of work.
Cool.
To date, we have driven more than...
That's so cool. So again, the semi fleet, it's quiet. People aren't paying attention to it, but they're doing a lot. They're advancing technology very quickly. And again, this has been reiterated in other ways, but I just wanted to say it again. The Tesla Cybertruck, starting at $100,000, it's $120,000 if you get the Cyber Beast. I only got the cheap one. Is currently outselling the combined sales of all the EV pickup trucks that exist. The Ford F-150 Lightning, the Rivian R1T, the Chevy Silverado EV, the GMC Sierra EV, and the Hummer EV combined cannot compete with my fucking pickup truck. So suck a dick to everybody that said the Cybertruck was going to fail. Next, Elon Musk. Again, things that relate to Elon Musk, I will be talking about during the Tesla side of things. It's just how I work. I'll play this in a second here, but I want to look through comments and get caught up. James did say that it looks like the yen rate is a decision on the 20th. I'll try and keep track of that too. I think that's this week. Yeah, maybe on Friday. And see what's going on with that too, and make sure that I voice it to you when it comes up. Alexander said, "Don't forget to smash the like button, folks." Thank you, sir. Yeah, if you guys could do that, that would be great. Disease Kodak, what would happen to us and the market if the government shut down? I'm not even sure. It's probably a good thing. Nobody gives a fuck about the government right now. Everybody pretty much realizes that it's just an additional expense we don't need. It does start to slow down the GDP after a while, so it's not something that people want to do for long, but I don't think it would be a driving factor in markets over the short term. If anything, it could create weirdness around the election if the government is still shut down a month later, or I should say 5 weeks later, 4 to 5 weeks later, If the government is still shut down, the voting could get weird because again, there's government agencies that are affiliated with all of this, so it could get really strange, guys. That's some stuff that's coming no matter what. So there could be volatility, but I think, and we'll be keeping an eye out for it. But I think it's going to be okay. What is happening? Are you guys hearing that? 1 second here. I don't know if that's my daughter or what, purposely trying to mess with my live stream, but that's super annoying. Hopefully you guys didn't have to hear that. All right, let's keep going here. And if so, I'll just have to kill this. Let me kill this application so that you guys don't hear it again. All right, okay. Sorry about that. It's probably my daughter. She should know better, even though she's 10. All right, let's keep going here. Joe Barasas says, hey, Jesse, could you do Para? Not buying it, but curious with the Skydance of it all. Thanks, dude. We can look at it in a little bit. Thanks, James. Alex Garcia, how rich is this guy? Which guy are we talking about? John Mars, hi, everyone. Lars Strand, thoughts on MSOS as an asymmetrical bet in these troubled times? We'll take a look. Charles DR from X says, I think I saw CleanSpark news today bringing more sites online. Yeah, we'll go over that too. Yep, you're right. There was that. 94 Clips, good afternoon. All of you brilliant non-corrupted people, person, turquoise waving. Les Walter, thoughts on selling some of your winner this year and paying the tax on it in case Harris raises. She can't do that. She's not going to be able to raise long-term capital gains or unrealized tax. She's not going to be able to. She's not going to win the Senate. The odds are going against her more and more every day. Again, you can watch that political video this afternoon at 4:45, and I'll go over it more there. But yeah, my plays, so you said thoughts on selling it, then buying it back to get lower tax and over the next 31 days after you don't want to get wash trading. That's what you're saying, right? I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't do that. I think, especially with like Bitcoin related stuff, Tesla, all these others that I'm looking at, I think they're ready to take off. I would hate to miss a large portion of that by trying to time it now. A year ago, maybe that would have made sense to me, but right now I don't think it does, personally. Jer R, hey Jesse, thanks for your videos. Could you take a look at the chart financials of AAP? Yeah, we can go over that one. We'll go over a couple of these here in a second. I'm going to keep rolling, though. So everything Elon Musk, I'm going to go over. And he says, from a member of the EU Parliament, Phidias is awesome. He's actually, I think, from Greece. I want to say he's from Greece or somewhere like that. He got voted in. He's young. He uses social media networks. And he's trying to fight back against the European Parliament that is very pro-censorship right now and looking to censor all kinds of content. And he was basically saying great things about X. It's 1 minute. I want you to hear it.
Perhaps I'm one of the most qualified members of the European Parliament to talk about social media platforms. As myself,
he is the most qualified.
I'm a social media influencer by profession. I believe the Digital Service Act is a positive step forward, but I want to focus more on an important aspect of it. I strongly believe the way to fight hate speech and disinformation is definitely not censorship. Instead, I will propose that we encourage the platforms to create organic fact-checking systems to inform their users about the validity of the information they receive. A good example of this is community notes of Twitter.
Cypress, thanks F. Christoph, thank you.
Which allows its users to highlight information when they believe that is factually incorrect. Now, in an era of artificial intelligence, more than ever, we need to focus on what is actually true. Not by censoring, but just by letting people know the facts and freely decide.
Love this guy. Yeah, and I'm sorry. He was from Cyprus. Thank you very much, Christoph. Brilliant, and I love the fact that he represented X as the best way to do this. And again, this guy literally was a YouTuber going against the establishment and the powers that be, and he fucking won. And I love that. Also, Sawyer kind of touches on what we were hearing about with semis. He said Tesla's head of semi-engineering, Dan Priestley, says we've successfully demonstrated and deployed a megawatt level charging in the field. It's safe, it's reliable, and it enables for one replacement of diesel trucks. Pepsi did a demonstration of more than 1,500, or let me see here, 1,050 miles in a single 24-hour period, and that is enabled by fast charging. So Again, people don't realize this. They're sleeping on all these different elements of Tesla and all of Elon's companies, but they're making headway. In case you guys didn't know, the FAA was shitting on Elon Musk yet again, trying to charge $633,000 in bullshit fines that are lawfare. And so Elon Musk told them to go fuck themselves, and he's taking them to court, which I love. Get them. I want to throw this out there too. And again, if you are part of the woke mind virus, you're probably not going to like this clip, but it's only 1 minute and 24 seconds. And it speaks to the problems I think our humanity is facing right now in the West. It's a global effort. And I think Elon represents it very well here in his speech.
To summarize maybe the woke mind virus, it consists of creating very, very divisive identity politics. So it actually amplifies woke virus, mind virus, in my view, amplifies racism, amplifies, frankly, sexism, and all the isms. And while claiming to do the opposite, it actually divides people and makes them sort of hate each other, and it makes people hate themselves. And it's also anti-meritocratic. It's not like, it's not merit-based. So you want to have people succeed based on how hard they work and the talents, not who they are, whether they're man, woman, what race or gender. That stuff is all creating. It's an artificial, mental civil war that is created, and it's not. And let me tell you, it's no fun. Okay, it is like woke mind virus and fun are incompatible. There's no fun in that. No.
But again, what he's saying is we need to get out of our way. We don't need to cause our own problems. We don't need to make up reasons to hate each other. I don't need to look at somebody and be like, oh, that's a black person, I'm supposed to hate them. And they shouldn't be looking at me and saying, that's a white guy, he's so privileged. Or judging everybody by their sexual orientation. Who gives a fuck? The last thing I care about when I meet somebody is I'm like, oh, hey, I wonder if they like to take it in the ass or give it the other way. I don't fucking care. None of this shit matters. The whole DEI thing is bullshit. Meritocracy is where it's at. Capitalism is where it's at. People work hard. They learn from other people. It doesn't matter who they are. None of it matters. It just matters that they work hard and they should have opportunity. And we need to stop. We need to follow Martin Luther King, who said that he dreamed of a day where people would not judge him by the color of his skin. And that is the exact fucking opposite of what the Democrats do right now. And it pisses me the fuck off. Sorry, I get this way sometimes. Don't watch these shows around your kids, guys. I should warn that in advance. All right. Anyway, keep going. Democrats, I put Democrats are angry at Elon Musk because he's making it harder for them to control what you see, hear, and believe. I won't play this one right away, but again, same concept. And here's Elon Musk saying more lawfare. And again, they're suing him. So very exciting times. Saying that the fate of America depends on this vote from Elon. Holmar's catalog saying expect more fines and delays for SpaceX if the Biden-Harris administration is reelected. I agree with that. I mean, it would be Harris now. And then I posted this earlier. It shows that we're in the phase 4 consolidation. I made a video about this a while ago. A lot of you probably don't know something about it, but if you're new here, I believe strongly that we're in the 4th phase of consolidation and we're getting ready to go higher. Should probably add some of the other events that are in process and when they happened on this image. I made a great YouTube video about it. It's in this thread. You can see it right over here if you're interested in it. Let me just see if there's anything else. I think that was a lot of it. Elon fighting with Canada, telling them he can basically do what they need for Canadian households for half the price. Fighting with him on X. And also, Alex Finn said, breaking, Elon came through on his promise. Engagement farming on X is dead. I would say dying. He said the largest ring of engagement farmers and paid engagement groups has been banned from X. So if you're just putting out bullshit garbage to try and get people to engage all the time and make money off of it, and doing like just blatant trash posts, lies, things like that, you will get banned. I think that's it. That's a lot for the Tesla side of things. Let's jump over real quick to PayPal. The PayPal chart up 1% today. Again, another beautiful move. It's really just a matter of getting above $74, $75 and turning that into support. When we do that, we're down about 76% right now. But when we do that, we're set for launch. I think it's coming really quickly. I like the way this chart is setting up. And if we look quickly over here, let's just see what we have. I really got to fix my scroll. If I can fix my scroll, man, I'm like 90% of the way there on the stream. Now, I did want to say my buddy Roy, Crossroads was just talking about PayPal, and he said, PayPal last year, PayPal can't innovate. I don't know how many times I heard that and argued against it. This year at their developer day for BigCommerce's VP partnering during the pilot phase, it took 12 to 16 weeks to go from no concept to actually getting integrated. That's a huge turnaround for anybody who knows anything about software. That's fast, pun intended, because of Fastlane. I think that was his joke. He's a redhead, jokes are so good. Anyway, I'm just kidding. What's even more insane, when Fastlane was implemented for customized checkouts during the pilot program, no apps broke, no integration stopped, and the checkout phase was seamless right from the very start. That's almost unheard of. Again, I've been in the software business for years. A company that is competent and does all the right testing and makes sure that they're not bringing things down is invaluable. And this is that company. And again, on top of the data silos being removed internally, integrating, the PayPal app and Venmo, all these things are merging together. PayPal is kicking ass. I'm very excited about it. And I think we're going a lot higher. Crossroads on the 16th, too, posted this. It just says, PayPal Alex Chris has talked a lot about Venmo from day one. As a user, I can't wait to see how Venmo continues to improve. It is a great app. As an investor, the CFO, Jamie Miller, I love her, citing Venmo as a significant contributor in year-over-year growth and its acceleration of MAUs, chunk driven by the graphic below, is meaningful. Driving Venmo monetization, Venmo debit and pay with Venmo monthly actives up approximately 30%. Just very cool stuff, guys, on the PayPal front. If you don't know it, it's good, and I think it's only going to get better. Let's real quickly, before we look at the Hood chart, I just said this earlier. I said Hood knows how to advertise on the cheap. They put out this thing that said, where? It's got this little icon. They're going to make people piece this stuff together, right? And then before that, the day before, they had who? And so they're getting free advertising. The stock did good today, and Amit is trying to figure out what's going on. We know he knows what's going on. He's in bed with the CEO, so we know the truth. And I don't mean literally, maybe. Just kidding. Amit, just fucking with you, bro. All right, Hood. Looking at this ticker, up 2% on the day. That's pretty much it because it's flat in after hours. Again, I've just been saying this for a while. This is such a beautiful chart. We've got another, let me just update it here. We've got another 50%, so 35 to 50% before we even really start hitting resistance, in my opinion. And I think we get there in the next couple of months. Very excited about that. Very, 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 very. Let's see. Any news on SoFi? I don't know if I have anything too new. Data-driven investing says SoFi will end 2024 with over 10 million members. Now, if you look at this, you go back to 2021 where they had 2.5. This is a pretty impressive number. Their financials, again, are doing well. I do like data-driven investing said, look at the strength of how SoFi held up against other companies that are in this fintech-related space yesterday. They were up 4.2% when the others were down. Upstart down big. Upstart just sucks as a company. I don't like it. But I do think that, again, it's a positive sign to see all that. And again, me just showing charts on SoFi saying that we're getting to $12 real soon. And I do believe that to be true. And let's just look at the chart right now and see how we closed on the day. We are up 0.74%, about 0.4% if we include after hours. Still above the .618. I like the fact that we're holding on to that. It's really the first day. Let's just do this real quick. You got to see this. So it's always in the nuance with these charts. So if you look over here, you might have been able to say that day was above, but it was a strong power wick down. But really, I would argue that this is the first day that we've closed above that .618 since March of 2024. And I think that's a pretty decent accomplishment. It excites me. I think good things are coming ahead for SoFi and many other parts of the market. Square, I don't have a lot of news. If anybody's got new news on Square, I do have to say a 2.5% upside move is looking very good. Again, I said we were finding support on the .236 fib and peak volumes. We appear to be doing that. I think we're very quickly going to $79, $80. Have not changed my stance on that. Palantir, actually not a bad day today, up 0.4%. I do still believe, like I've said before, we can go to 46, but I don't think it can go higher. I would not be holding a lot of Palantir right now. I personally have one share, but I did get out over here, but I got out with options and made 600 grand, so people cannot give me shit. Let me make sure that I don't have any. I don't think I have a lot of new Palantir related news, but we'll just check. Oh yeah, just Alex Karp being great. I will play this. Here's what I love about Alex Karp. He's liberal. He's very much a social liberal, and yet he believes in rigorous thought, meritocracy, which is essentially capitalism, truth, and founders retain value in organizations. But I want to listen. This is on a Bill Maurer interview, I believe. He explains why 87% of the most important tech companies in the world are American, and that the societal pillars contributing to this is this reality.
And I think, and there are real consequences. So something like 87% of the most important tech companies in the world are American. And if you look at what should have happened, Germany and other places should have a tech scene, but you have to have rigorous thought, meritocracy, truth to build these companies. And that's what we've been fighting to preserve, because if you want to have Palantir or SpaceX or whatever you're going to build, you need to have a system where people can build things. It's rigorous. They keep the value of what they build, and they share it with society.
I love Alex Karp, man. Alex Karp and Elon Musk for the win. Out of the business community, they're amazing. Again, I posted this yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, no, it was yesterday. Just talking about, a year and a half ago, how I told people Palantir was going to do great, and that it was going to get a lot larger, and that as I made a shit ton of money off of Palantir, I was putting more and more money into Bitcoin-related investments and Tesla. And at the time, Tesla was only 10% of my position, and Palantir was my largest position. I made $600,000 since that time. Got a lot of shit after I exited my position. Could it have went higher? Could I have invested in Palantir stock and done a little bit better? Sure. I don't care though. Anybody who knows me knows that I am the person who doesn't go after the crumbs. I go after the loaf, and that's just the way I'll always be. But again, Palantir, I don't think it's going much higher. ARKG, not over the short term. Reevaluate again in 6 months. ARKG, so how did we end today? So we were up 3% at one point on the day. This is still nice. We like these wicks underneath it here, guys. It's looking very hammery for the week. This is on the monthly. But jump out. Still a great looking. Again, we found all that support. Remember how we couldn't get above it and hold support? Broke down, got above it, started holding support. Looked like we were going to lose it. Came back above it, turned it into a bunch of reliable support. And now we're set up for launch. It's really just a matter of getting above 28, 29. When we do that, we'll have the 50 and the 100 moving average underneath of us on the weekly time frame, and we'll be ready to launch up towards the 33 zone. And you can see peak volumes here. We'll hit resistance around 31.80. So there will be strong resistance before we get to this line up here, just based upon the fact that it's the entire volume of the company. But I do feel very optimistic. I made a post today too talking about ARKG. I'll just pull it up real quick here. And then I'll get back to comments, and we'll start looking at your guys' stuff. Queue up anything you want me to look at, guys. We've got a good half an hour where I'll go through charts with you guys. So I did make this argument earlier about ARKG, and I said with global liquidity expansion and risk-on behavior coming back to the markets, which I believe it is, starting over the next few months, people will be looking for a higher multiple with oversold stocks. I should have made that one word. They'll also start speculating in the genomic sector for the first time in years. I said ARKG is the easiest way to play this with their investment in 30-plus companies, plus the options are a steal at these levels and could give 6 to 9x multiple of the underlying asset, maybe more. So I do strongly believe that the .618 retracement zone is going to be the big retracement zone. I think in the next year and a half, we could see this level up in the 75 range. That's a 200% gain. These options are sick. So check them out if you haven't already. I think they're a really good value. Let's go to Flux and we'll look at DLO, and then I'm onto your guys' stuff and back to chat. Thank you very much for your patience, guys. Flux down 0.62% today, kind of still in that heart line, really needs to go higher. Nothing too interesting here. Let's check out DLO, another one of these member-only plays that I did a while ago. Some of my member-only plays do not come out or do not play out well. This is less than 1% of my portfolio, so it's not a big amount of money. DLO, again, this was my best performer of the day. It does appear that it's finding support off the first fib line at the .236, and it's trying to launch off of that. I would think the next move would be this big gap in volume that goes all the way over to around the lower 9 range. So we want to see that. And then really before we start to get any kind of real resistance, I think it's the $10, $11 range where we start to hit some real resistance. But I actually think we'll do mean reversion, which means we'll go back to kind of where the bulk of the tension is. And you can see that with the volume profile, the visible range volume profile, this yellow and blue thing on the right. I think the big move here, guys, is testing all the way up to here. And that's why I drew this line a while ago, and it's been doing pretty good so far. Probably shouldn't be pink. Well, I guess I did the other ones that way. I was trying to represent how strong this thing can go for its upside momentum when it does move before it rejects again. So I'm just saying, hey, I think that we've got a pretty nice move at the very least. We've got a 55% move to the upside with the options. That could be like 150, 200%. Should be pretty much in the green by that time. Might sell a little bit at that level. Maybe 20, 30%, and then let the rest of it ride. So that's kind of the idea here. I don't know why I don't have this drawn all the way up. I should probably do that at some point. Anyway, whatever. We can do that later. All right, so let's get to it. Let me get caught up here, guys. I'm going to try and start. Oh, yeah. Oh, Needs, you're such a stud, dude. He just consolidated a shit ton of this. So I'm just going to read a few comments, make sure I didn't miss anything, and then I'm just going to keep rocking. Silas said, Elon is right about the wokeism, but it's not accidental. It's called postmodernism and deeply ingrained in academia. It totally is. When you look at these Free Palestine rallies, guys, they're handing out pamphlets for socialism and communism and Marxist economics. This is very much indoctrination at its best. And that's just in college. Children are getting indoctrinated every day, too. I just saw a woman with pink hair walk by my house just yesterday with her 4-year-old boy that was wearing a dress. I don't know that the 4-year-old knows what the fuck is going on, but evidently she seems to think that she's made a decision on what her child's sexual orientation is. I think that's a sick, perverse fucking thing to do for a 3 or 4-year-old. I think just let them be them. He had makeup on too. Again, I just don't, I don't know. The world is escaping me sometimes on the directions that we take and what we try and do to children at very young ages. He said, these ideologies divide and create new resentments by design. I agree. That's the purpose. It's to create division and establish control. Alex Garcia, it is definitely taught in universities. Governments want people who are dumb and can't think for themselves and are dependent upon the government. I agree. Les Walter, I'm concerned about our children and who's teaching them and what they're being taught. Me too. Also, grading has changed from the past. Used to be you did not know 70% on a test. It was an F. Yeah, nowadays, what the fuck ever. JR on X said, how do you feel about uranium, nuclear energy, and related investments given the increasing energy demands and electrification? I think that there is a place for uranium and nuclear energy, but I think the prices are very expensive for nuclear right now versus other forms of energy. I do think there's a need for it. I think the demand will continue to go up. China's still building tons of nuclear weapons too. So I think uranium could do well for a while. I mean, China's building nuclear weapons at a record pace. I don't know if they have 400 or more now. Let me just check with Grok real quick here and see what Grok has to say about how many nukes China's built up in just a very short number of years. How many nuclear weapons does China have? Let's see what Grok has to say while we're reviewing here. I'm just doing the mini beta. Based on the information, over 500 now. Wow, so they've went up a lot in a very short period of time. So they're already at 500. So they're trying to build up to be a massive nuclear power so that they can threaten the world and try and make them do their bidding. Similar to what Russia tried to do. It's not great for the world that we have so many powers pushing towards nuclear weapons. It's very scary, actually. And like in Russia and Ukraine, I didn't post this earlier, but over 1 million. It's projected that we're well over $1 million or 1 million people that have died now between Russia and Ukraine, with Russia getting the worst of that. That war needs to come to an end. We have bigger fish to worry about. We need to make both of those guys end it and be unhappy with the resolution so that the war is over. Because Russia, I've said this before, Russia can't do it again. They can't do it again. A 3-day war turned into 2.5 years. And they're incredibly crippled right now, and they're under the nutsack of China. And we need to get them out of the nutsack of China and befriend them while befriending Ukraine and trying to get them to play nice with each other instead of murder each other. Because the war isn't doing anything to help anyone. And if you think that Ukraine going into Russia or maybe in the future attacking Moscow with precision weaponry that can go that far is a good thing, you're confused. We don't want to risk nuclear war. We don't want to kill us all and our children. If you don't love yourself, love your children. Sealess, I've spent thousands of hours following all these people who claim to want a better world, but pushing inequality and identity over competence in government and corporations. So much stupid shit. Juana X says, Lunar up 25%, $4 billion contract, earned market cap is $700 million. Is Lunar a stock or is it crypto? I know there was a crypto named that. Let me see if... but I don't think it was that. I think that, yeah, it's your stock. Okay, cool. Let's look that one up. Normally, I don't do this on X, and I'm probably going to stop it soon, guys. X will not give me subscriptions for some reason. I think it's dumb. I would like to get things down to member chat only to remove the noise, and I'd like it to be like $1 on YouTube and $1 on X, whichever one you want to chat on, and then we look up stocks. Lunar's up 37% in after hours from that contract. And how much did you say it was? $4 billion. Market cap is 700 million. That sounds like a big plus, man. It got them all the way up over the 100 weekly moving average. That sounds like a pretty big win. I don't know a lot else about the company. I think they didn't have a lot in the way of earnings the last time we looked at them, but maybe that's going to change. I worry about every company that does anything space, because I don't see how they're going to really, truly. How do you spell it? Is it Lunar? Because I got to see if I can find. I don't think I actually have it in here. But yeah, if we look under here, under the financials in X, or in TradingView, my bad. Oh, no, wait, this one does have some revenues. Let's just look over here. I wish they were in visual stocks. It makes it so much easier. Not a lot of a history. Let me see here real quick. Let me look at annual. So yeah, 2023 was their first time making money. They had 62.8 million in net income, and then revenue was 80. So that was actually a good year for them. That's the first time they really started to make money. And so that looks good. So I might be confusing this with a different one. You're right. The $700 billion market cap could change really quick, which is probably why it's up 35%. This might be a good one to put on our watch list. Again, when I get the Discord up, we're going to have channels for each one of these things. And channel members will be able to go in there and add new information to it. And we'll figure out like good hedge plays and good investments that we're thinking about in the future. And we'll put stuff like this in there. U is going crazy, nonstop upside move as well. Yeah, I don't like chasing. So like things that are up a bunch, it's like, oh, cool, that's great. I care about them when they're not up. And U is clear secure. It says it's up 4.6% today. It is running, and it looks like it really, the mean reversion for this one is back up to like between 34 and 39. Then we're kind of right in between all this price action. But what do the fundamentals look like of the company? Let's look at this one and see if we can pull it up. Clear secure, 25% revenue growth year over year. That looks very consistent. That looks good. Let's see what estimates are. Estimates are continuing to grow. This one looks nice. Net income, forward PE is only 22.85. So, I mean, it's really pretty undervalued. If you look at the PE, it's 41. So if they keep making money at the rate they are, free cash flow is good. This looks interesting. This looks like a strong company. They did sell a decent chunk. They sold a lot in 2020, 2022, a little bit in 2023. They're selling now. Massive short interest, 19% on this company. But guidance looks good. It shows continued growth. They could be more efficient, but the operating leverage, man, the revenue versus expenses looks great. They look like they peaked and they're bringing it down. Stock-based comp is 5.48%, so they're still paying themselves a lot with stock. That's pretty normal though. They've got $630 million in bonds and $40 million in cash and only $118 million in debt. What do they do? What does this company actually do? It's from New York. Aims to streamline secure daily activities by leveraging your identity, serving over 5.6 million members across more than 100 locations and ensuring your experience is both convenient and safe. The company prioritizes trust and privacy, never selling member data, and adheres to the highest security standards set by the U.S. government regulators, including certification as qualified anti-terrorism technology under the Safety Act. Interesting. All right. This is interesting. Okay. This is probably a good one to keep on the list too, man. I like what you're bringing up. Les Walter. Thiel is a Republican and Karp is a Dem. Yeah, very true. And Peter Thiel's invested in Palantir. Yep. But I like the fact that, again, they come from different places, but they're thoughtful and respectful of each other and able to work with each other. Get best of two world when looked at by the government. Yeah, that's probably true. When you're looking at it from the government, you're getting like a down the middle of the road approach. Agreed. Very smart. Rocky A. Kathy Wood's fund selling a bunch of her Palantir shares. She probably thinks is overvalued at these prices. Yeah, and she's not always great at timing, but I do agree with her this time. I think this is overvalued at these prices. Oh, cool. Oh, dude, I don't want to block you. I clicked. I just realized the buttons do a good job of letting me reply to your specific comment too, where you don't necessarily have that in regular chat. Smack Dab Trader, new multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract extension for Nebraska medicine for Palantir today. Cool, awesome, man. They're gonna keep getting a lot of contracts. I have no doubt they're still gonna have growth. C-List, I'm just impressed by how much the cross-country skis in New Hampshire. That's why I bought Palantir. How much he cross-country skis. Yeah, based on cross-country skiing in New Hampshire alone, Palantir is a great stock. Michael Myers, true Gen Xer. C-List, Jesse I always think you're going to murder me, Michael Myers. C-List, Jesse always going for the loaf. I agree. Get rich slowly, then do good things with it. Yes, that's true. Needs 55. All right, let's get through the stocks here. So we got a bunch. We got AMD. Let's look at AMD. And again, I'm going to try and do this for at least 20, 30 minutes before we get ready for my next call, our next session. AMD looks good. It's finding support on the .618. This is a trade range. What we'd like to see is a break above this and test up to the .786 at 176. If it can do that, you're probably going to see it go to 240. So AMD doesn't look horrible, but what do the financials look like? I like to compare all this stuff because, again, technicals can look amazing, but then the financials and the fundamentals tell you something else. Now, we're almost double-digit revenue growth. If you look over here, data center revenue is doing really good. Gaming revenue is just falling off a cliff. I'm actually shocked by how bad that's gotten. But I know NVIDIA is like the default video card for gaming nowadays. It was for Bitcoin mining too, really, for most of it. But revenues are flat. They've been flat since Q1 of 2022. Net income is choppy at best. Let's look at guidance because this company operating expenses could be better. I mean, but most of it's R&D, and I think that's where it should be, right? Flat on operating expenses, spending more on R&D. Lots of catch up to get to NVIDIA here. Let's look though. So shares, not a lot of share dilution. Cash is still really good, and they got bonds in there too. All that stuff looks good. Let's check real quickly and see what the estimates are. So guidance is getting better on revenue. Oh, EPS is looking nice. I love all that. Let's see how we're doing. So no real selling, not a lot of insider stuff. Institutional still buying. Short interest, not crazy. The company looks, I mean, some nice charts in here too. Revenue by segment. So you can see that data center is really becoming the biggest piece. And then it looks like it's still client. And then gaming is just so tiny. And then embedded. So that interesting stuff, but I would say that the forward PE is what, 28.857. The PE is 181. So if their revenue continues to grow at what we're doing, this is a bouncer. This is nice. If we can get towards record revenues again, for earnings per share, I could see us getting back to 240 really quickly on this one. That's my take. I think NVIDIA is a buy. I need to get one of those Kramer buttons. Would you guys love that? I'm kidding. All right, let's go back. MicroStrategy options. Options. Do I want to go into options right now? Yeah, sure. What the fuck? MicroStrategy. So let's look at the ticker, and we'll decide where our most ideal ranges are. So on MicroStrategy, I would say that it's pretty easy between now and the end of the year to get to 287. That is a 100+% increase. If I was going to do an option, I'd probably look at something like that, or maybe even something like, and again, I'd give myself a ton of time. I would ideally give myself a little less than a year at this point, maybe 6 to 8, 9 months. Normally, I like to give more, but you can't get too far in the cycle. You guys have to realize that crypto cycles, Bitcoin cycles for the halving, haven't went much past like October, November. So it would be bad to go much past that. in regard to your time frame for the options, because you'll probably be looking at the whole market rolling over based upon historical. So you don't want to do that. But I would say that you could get anywhere between like the 280s in the 393 range if you're getting a little greedy there over the next 9 months, let's say, something like that. So let's keep those numbers in our head, the 280 to the 390 range. We'll go over and hop into the optionsprofitcalculator.com. We'll punch in MSTR. We will select an options trade. We do not want to do January 2027. We probably want to stick with June 2026. That's a nice, decent time frame. Again, it doesn't give us a ton of time. It gives us about 8 months, maybe, if I'm doing my math correctly, 8-9 months. So that's a pretty good number. And then we just want to look at what options exist here. We'll see if I get interested in this. So let's go all the way down. So I would say, I don't know. Let's try the 280. I don't want to do anything too crazy. Let's say that we just end up going to this first level right here. That's a 100% move. If Bitcoin gets to 92, I think we'll end up doing that. I think this is a pretty safe bet. So let's throw in some contracts. I'll throw it in with like what I would do because I need some real monies at least. So like, let's say I got 50 contracts and it's 165. These contracts are not for the week. These are not cheap contracts, by the way. But 50 of them is $165,000. And then let's just look at what will happen. So if by early next year, for some reason, we can get to that 280 mark, let's say we do it, let's say right over here. Yeah, you're getting 240% off of a 114% move. So it's a doubling. I normally don't like to do that, but I literally just did that with CleanSpark because I have such a high conviction on the fact that it's going to do this. So I would say this isn't crazy in my mind. And again, if it takes till July of next year, oh wait, what time frame is this? Is this 2026? No, that's too far. I picked the wrong shit. My bad. My bad. So let's say September of 2025. You don't want to go out that far. That's very bad. Very bad. Very bad. Okay, so let's say September of 2025. And September might suck because that's one that might not be as busy of a contract. And what I normally do, guys, I'm skipping stuff here. You need to watch my Option 101 video to make sure that you're looking for open interest and volume too when you're doing this. We're just assuming that we've got some under these contracts. But let's try September of 2025. That might be an okay one. 200 strike. That's as high as the availability gets. I'm going to refresh here again. We're going to bring this up to the 390 range because we do think that this is possible. This is like 11 months worth of time frame. This is probably a pretty safe one. So if we look at this and we say it got to 280, we're looking at almost a 2x versus the underlying. So I could make 200% if this thing moves 100%. But let's say it goes to that 390 target. Instead of 200%, I'm making 500%, which is a better than 2x the underlying asset, right? So it's getting a little more favorable here. And that 150 could give me 800K if we get to the 390s. I like that number. I think it's good. You might have talked me into looking at some of these. It's not a bad number. I like it. Maybe that's a bet I'm going to take. Might do it tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be that contract. It'll be some others, but whatever I do, I will definitely let you guys know. All right. Let's see here. So let's keep going. What else we got? I don't want to miss anything. So Bit Farms, we already did. Elf, I could do Elf. So yeah, I'm kind of liking your idea about MicroStrategy, man. I'm liking it. Not fucking crazy. Those September ones don't look crazy to me. I don't know if that'll be the exact strike because, again, open interest and volume does matter. Let's go to Elf, though. I'll roll through as many of these as I can get through. If I don't get to them now, we can always do tomorrow, guys. Elf, still falling. I thought I had. Weird. Let me just do this. I'm going to do fib retracement. I'm going to draw from down here. I'm going to draw from down here to up here. I thought I'd save this. Maybe I didn't. So is this the area where we're going to bounce? Probably. Could it go lower? Yes. It could. The golden retracement zone, the .618, is normally the area where you have like a strong bounce in something. But if you had that in this, it would almost look like a head and shoulders. And this did have a double top. Now, the thing to look at, again, is always the fundamentals of the company. So let's go over here to Elf because I don't remember off the top of my head what their finances look like. Elf has a forward PE of 34. One could say it's still a little rich And if you look at net income here, it's not bad. 47 million off of 324 million in revenues. What are their estimates going forward? Getting a little better, maybe a rough quarter or something. I think there's better investments out there personally, because again, the forward PE is a little rich for retail space. 34 is a little rich for retail if you look historically, but EPS is getting to record-breaking levels. I don't hate it. Could it bounce here? Yes. Would I be buying something else instead? Yeah, probably would be. Because if it bounces, it could get a rejection around 140, and then we could see this head and shoulder play down to 88 or something, and get it much closer to a fair valuation. I just think that there's so many other things that people are probably interested in outside of ELF. Is this one that Jeremy does? I don't remember. Jeremy Lafarge? I think so. All right, let me keep going here. NVIDIA. We can look at NVIDIA. And again, needs 55. Thank you so much, dude, for getting all this shit together. NVIDIA down 1% today. Again, the NASDAQ actually got a little hit today. So not too surprising to see this one coming down too. I do think we'll end up bouncing, but it's going to be heavily dependent upon tomorrow. We did reject, I said earlier too, when you have this lineup, and I don't know if I had it on the weekly or what. No, it was probably on the daily. But when you have this lineup where you have like a resistance zone that you're trying to turn into support and it's right near a fib, it's usually an area where you can break through and do exactly that. So we'll see if it will do it. I'm not 100% sold either way. This is such a strong growth company, though. I would think that it's going to go higher. That's my take. My take is that it goes above 120 and it starts to creep up higher. BD, thank you for joining. Very much appreciated, my friend. Very cool. Thank you, sir. HTZ options. I probably won't touch HTZ options until I look at the financials on the company first. And I probably won't do too many option requests, guys. Might save some of that stuff. Yeah, you know what I think I'm going to do for option-related inquiries? I'm probably going to do it on Saturday, earlier in the morning. So if you guys want to look at option contracts based upon stocks that we've been talking about, I might save some of that because it just takes more time. So free cash flow in this company sucks. They are a $1.1 billion company. For market cap, their enterprise value is $19.6 billion. Are they heavily indebted? Oh, yeah. So they're heavily indebted. They've been buying back shares. They have 17.3 billion and then only 1 billion in cash and bonds. That free cash flow number looks horrible. Let's look at, this is Hertz. Okay, so they're going to be flat for estimates and revenue, and their EPS looks like it's getting worse. They are buying back. So there's some people buying back, but look at the massive sales in Q1 of 2020. They when that pandemic came, guys, insiders just dumped the shit out of the stock. And these guys are the same ones that got into Tesla and then kind of fucked that up too, as far as their rentals, and then had to liquidate a bunch of it at lower prices. 13% on short interest on the shares, the float. Not super great. Forward PE is only 11. That's a low number, but when you have negative growth, I don't know, man. I think it's pretty fair. This company needs to actually do something fundamentally for it to be good. I wouldn't even look at options, frankly, on this unless you know the fundamentals are going to get a lot better because of something. I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole personally. Para, let me go ahead and look at that. Paramount Global, I'm assuming. That's a space I don't love at all, because it's just so heavily competitive. Even though there's a number of things I like watching on Paramount, it's so competitive, guys. So estimates are flat revenue, a little bit better on EPS. They've been selling lots of this fucking shares in this company since Q2 of 2023. Short interest is dropping down, so it's not like they're probably a buyout. There's probably a buyout in the future. It looks like there's 1% stock buyback, nothing crazy. Nothing's getting better on this. And it's got a forward PE of 7. I don't like it. That's my take. It's just such a competitive industry. I got a feeling Netflix is going to buy a lot of these companies. Maybe Disney. But there's a lot of consolidation coming in that sector, in my opinion. What is MSOS? Can you guys tell me what that is? I'll see if I have that. But yeah, so I don't even want to look up the stocks in the other ones unless you guys have a really good reason to. I just think they're not that great, guys. Not that great. There's so many amazing. Oh, my bad. Got to make a copy. So many amazing companies out there right now. It's just like one of those things where, why buy like kind of semi shitty? Maybe they're going to go up a couple of percent companies when we're in a world right now where you can get asymmetric returns from Tesla, asymmetric returns from PayPal, asymmetric returns from Arc Genomics, asymmetric returns from Bitcoin and related investments easily. Why take the risk with other things? Advisor shares, Trust Advisors, pure U.S. cannabis ETF. I don't like the cannabis sector. I can't tell you. I mean, if Trump gets elected, he's going to legalize it federally, right? So that could be a benefit to this sector. But I think there's so much of the cannabis industry that's going to die that I just don't know that I would look at an ETF. I would probably try and figure out which companies are going to survive. And I would let that play out for a little bit before I got interested in anything like this. That's my take on MSOS. Let me keep going. I might skip the last few. I did Lunar, what is it? UVIX. And then I'll try and get back to chat. UVIX and Docu. So DocuSign probably. I think I have Docu. Let's pull that one up first. DocuSign. So I used to use this product. It's all right. I think there's cheaper versions of it now. It's underneath its current. Wow, what a fuck. What a market cycle. This is the perfect image of a market cycle. It does look like technically maybe there's a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder, and that this thing would have a measured move up into the 90s. But what do the fundamentals look like on this company right now? Let's just look. And then I might move on to a few other comments. I am going to try and wrap up here, guys, in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Just because I want to get ready for that other political post before I go and do some stuff with my daughter and my wife. Revenue growth year over year is 7%. Forward PE is 16. It's actually worse than the current PE ratio. Massive net income. I'm not sure what happened in the last quarter. They had some kind of weird realization here. Cash flow is good. They got a lot of money. What do they have? It's burning down, but they have $320 million in bonds and $619 in cash. A lot of things. I mean, it doesn't look horrible by any means, but again, it's like one of those things where there's not a lot of growth here. It could get better. Insiders have been selling more of the stock than buying it in the last year, and I don't know. It just doesn't look like anything too exciting. Stock-based comp is 22% of revenue. That's ridiculous for a company that's this old. I don't like it. Let me see here. I might have missed some here. All right, Silas says, I mean, not trying to get rich, trading only. Yeah, you shouldn't. Trading, I rebalance a lot, but man, day trading is stupid. I don't like it, and I really hate like shorter time frame calls and options. I think it's gambling. 90% of options fail, guys. You don't want to hold them all the way through the majority of the time unless you're really, really right. You want to buy them earlier, and that's why people doing covered calls when they think we're topping have made so much money over the last several years. Silas, Les Walter, any new leaps you're looking at? Not yet. I've got a huge list. I'll be putting it on the Discord, and we'll be figuring out things together. Since you guys do a lot of research too, it'd be nice to start documenting everything in one place. It'll help me with my analysis to have us all kind of on the same page and coming up with ideas and filtering through them. I think it'll be huge. Just wondering your feelings. Kane says, just wondering your feelings on VIX through the end of the week. It could spike. Totally could spike. If we go over here and look at the VIX, I've said this numerous times before. Let me just save that chart. If we look at the VIX, especially with tomorrow, guys, tomorrow could be really up and down, I think, unless the algos really know what they want to do, and I don't think they do. But you can already see where we were spiking today, up 2.74%. Are we going to get something like the 67? Fuck no. Could we test back up into the 20 range, though? Yeah, that's possible. I just don't know that, again, unless Jerome Powell, for some reason, deliberately sabotages the market tomorrow, I just don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, and I personally wouldn't be playing the volatility in markets right now. Diego Ramirez, hey, Jesse, can you look at Celsius? I can, real quick here. HTZ, Dan24 up. Is that Hertz? I think I just did that, or is that a different one? Let me know what HTZ is. All right, so what we're looking at here is Celsius. Yeah, we looked at that the other day too. So Celsius's chart, it's been brutal. I think it could be getting rejected off the 200 moving average, which means it could roll over even lower. If it rolled over lower, it doesn't really find support until like 27 to 23. which would be, I believe, an ultimate bottom. You got to realize this thing's already down 68%, so it could be at the bottom now. The thing I mentioned yesterday too, and that I still strongly believe, I think people just got overhyped on Celsius. They were drinking the shit and going like, I'm making tons of money, and I like the drink. And and don't get me wrong, it had wicked growth, revenue growth year over year, 23%, profit growth 65, forward PE is 28. It's not a horrible number by any means. Yeah, no, it's actually come down a lot. This is a retail thing. Could it drop further? Could it drop further? Let's look at what the estimates are. So it looks like flat to hopefully up. I would maybe give it a quarter before I got too interested in this. Not that it can't go up from here. It totally could. It's pretty fairly valued. And we're looking at peak volumes right here. So maybe we end up breaking up and getting above 39 soon and we start marking a path higher. But it's pretty fairly valued. And unless they start bringing estimates or beating estimates on the revenue and the EPS, it doesn't really deserve to go a lot higher. It definitely doesn't deserve to go to new all-time highs. So I think it's kind of finding its new base, and it might do that for a little bit of time. That's my take. Jesse, can you please analyze? Wait, no, Dan24 had HTZ. What is that here? Let me just look it up. That's not Hertz, right? I just did Hertz. I don't feel like it was HTZ. Let me just look it up over here. Sorry, I'm trying to get caught up with comments here. Just looking at a lot of stuff at once. Oh, that is Hertz. So we already did that one. Okay, cool. So I'm not looking at that anymore. And can you please do DPRO? Let me just read through the rest of the comments here too, guys. Freedom Fighter number 1. I've seen woke people that wear masks when they are by themselves in the car. I know that's so fucking stupid. If you believe in people being programmed, and don't get me wrong, I was a retard. I was spraying down my packages when I got them. I was wearing a mask out in public. I got vaxxed a couple of times before I realized the truth and how stupid it all was. X was being heavily censored, and I'm a pretty liberal person by most social standards. So I believed a lot of the bullshit. But yeah, there's people that are really just gullible and stupid. Sela says EMR, Emerson Electric, please. I might not get to that one until tomorrow, Silas. Andrew, what Clean Spark calls are you holding now? I actually have that. Well, I show that a lot, but I'll just show it again real quick here. So Clean Spark, the ones I care about right here, the July 18th, 2025s are 37 strike. I think they're still very valuable. They're up 1.5% today, just a small amount, but that's 18. They're down 18%, so I still think they're cheap, and I think we'll hit that and we'll tear it up. I'll probably sell into the 30s though, because again, right now the stock is at what, $9. When it gets into the 30s, I'll have made so much money. I'll probably made 600 and 700%. So I'll probably sell by that time. And I do believe again that it's going to move very quickly. Lunar, we just did one. Silas, the key is to get an SMR design, which is cost efficient. I'm sorry, what is that the key to? Tell me. Oh, small modular reactors. Oh yeah, no, totally, I agree. That's some of the stuff that Bill Gates is working on too with China. I do agree that those are going to be the core. That's going to be a good thing for a long-term solution. I just don't know how well they do in the short term. But again, China's aggressively building nukes, so if they're putting money anywhere, it's nuclear weapons, so and nuclear energy. So we're going to see. I think we'll see a race in that area. Tulip Mania, Alpha's down, but I think it's a good company. Yeah, maybe. It's still operating at a higher multiple for the PE ratio than I would like for somebody that's in retail. Lars Strand, MSOS. Dario Ferraro, you can check out United Airlines and let me know what you think. I'll probably do some of the rest of these later, guys. I'm just checking to see if there's anything else. Just based upon timing, just to give myself a break here before I start the next stream. Where is this option editor? Oh, it's just optionsprofitcalculator.com. So optionsprofitcalculator.com. If you look that up, just options profit calculator, you'll see it. It's got this little icon, but it's a good one. I go over it in my Options 101 video. Before you guys buy options, please watch my video. Sela said, when Woods funds go up and the money piles in at higher prices, and then if the dip, she looks bad. Yeah, but money will flow in, and people will be asking her questions. She'll be on fucking CNBC like every day. It's going to happen again. Andrew, there's a decent chance that MicroStrategy is issuing and selling shares today, and that's suppressing the price. The volume was really high. Very possible. Very possible. Maybe they're doing that 700 million. Very possible. Silas. I sound bored, would probably detract from your style. You just swear organically. I do. That's true. Bitcoin man, where is this option editor? I said that one. Timmy from X, thoughts on Hood. I love it. I've got 100,000 plus in option calls right now for Hood. I've already made, I'm probably up 700% in total. Was the original contracts where I made 500-600%. Some of you guys were on that ride. Some of you guys did better than me. I had 700-800. I think I even saw 1,000%ers who did shorter dated calls than I was willing to risk. But you guys made a lot of money off of that. But now this new round 2, I'm up about almost 50%. And looking to go higher, but I love Hood. Got over 120,000. I think I have some on another portfolio too. This is just my main. This is where 80% of my portfolio is. 80? No. 70? Yeah. 65? Actually, probably closer to 65. 65, 70. Something like that. This is like the biggest part of it. And I'm trying to, I do represent my portfolio on XI, so you can see my allocation, and I'm going to try and make that cleaner and add more too. Again, if you haven't hit the likes, if you guys could do that. F. Christoph on X says, what are your thoughts on DocU? I just went over it. BD became a member, level starter pack. Thank you, BD. Again, all you people that are doing this, I appreciate it. On X, just so you guys know, if you're watching on X, you won't be able to ask questions in the near future if X doesn't start giving me a subscription service. So if you guys want to ask questions about stocks and get my financial input and the technical input, and sometimes even fundamental, daily, twice a day in the morning session, in the morning show that we do before the markets open, and also in the market recap. And then again, I'm doing a Bitcoin miner comparison and crypto thing on Sundays, and then on Saturdays maybe we talk about options more, or just really try and get through your guys' list of requests as overflow in case I don't get them all done during the week. So if you guys want that, for $2 starter pack new, you can have that. And eventually I'll have a subscription on X that'll be $1, and when they give it to me, and then on YouTube it'll be $1, and then the Discord is where people are really going to contribute. That'll probably be a minimum of $5. Because we're gonna be able to do cool shit where we're gonna be able to track things in real time and use the expertise of each other to give each other news on the things that we're tracking. It's gonna be fucking awesome, I think. And we'll try and find as much value as we can. And I'll probably be making a couple of you guys like Sealess and others that are just here all the time and awesome. My buddy Chris Federal. There'll be some others that where you guys are gonna be admins in it if you guys want. JR, the AAP one, I'll probably have to do that later. Sorry, bud. And again, if you want to be able to make stock requests, for now, you might want to jump on YouTube and do that $2 member thing and watch from there. It's got better functionality right now anyway. And again, I hope I keep tagging Lindy Ocarino and X and Elon Musk, trying to just say, hey guys, you're doing so great. Please just fucking give me a subscription. I've been waiting 14 months and I don't understand why there's so many people like me, like Caleb Franzen and Bach and some other people that have pretty good size accounts, 60,000 plus, they can't get that stuff after over a year. C-List, can you buy options after hours anywhere yet? I never do, but I'm sure you could. I just never do it. I don't care. Freedom Fighter number 1, can we ask questions about tickets when Discord goes live? Will you be able to stream onto Discord? I won't stream onto Discord, but Discord will be the place that we're able to communicate with each other about what our hedging strategies are. It's where I'll put some of my content for people that are like, hey, how do I do options? What are my beliefs? How do I invest? Looking at specific entities, like we'll have channels, sub-channels for like Tesla and PayPal, all these others. For the common things that we're talking about in here, where we can spread the news, and I'll have my focus on like my preferred investments and what I'm doing, and you'll be able to, we'll just try and give you a lot of extra value, hopefully on the Discord, and then you'll be able to get notifications when people have new news. I'm hoping that will give that will be better than just waiting for X. You'll be able to look at your Discord and be like, whoa, something just happened with Tesla. Let me check that out. Where you wouldn't get Tesla specific news that you could like sign on to for alerts. If you didn't have Discord, right? So I think it's going to provide a lot of value, and I'm still trying to figure it all out. Martin Pillich, member on YouTube Alpha, but watching here, looking forward to Patreon, Discord. I think it'll help a lot because then I'll be able to lower the amount that's requested on the memberships on YouTube and X. And then at the same time, my big goal, guys, is just to make it to where to where we get rid of the garbage, like the people that aren't paying to facilitate, and that sometimes throw out trash or just shit talk or whatever. And instead, we've got like a $1 membership where whatever platform you're using. And thank you for being an alpha male, a female. I really appreciate it, dude. And then again, the Discord will be where you can contribute more, so that I'm not platform dependent. I don't want to be dependent upon YouTube. And plus, Discord should allow me to be able to make more money, because right now, on average, I'm getting robbed for like 55% of the revenue. And if I switch to Discord and people pay for Discord through the desktop, I think that number, I'll get double, or at least the amount taken from me will be halved to maybe like 25% instead of 50%. And that's a pretty good jump in income. That's, a 50% increase in income for the channel, which again will allow me to be able to maybe get a moderator full time or pay my wife to do it, and just really up the quality of the channel. Lars, thoughts on the deep in the money options when you expect a quick move like Q4 on a BTC related stock? Again, like if you're deep in the money, you don't want to fall out of the money. As long as you're not falling out of the money, that's great. But there's extrinsic value can be a big part, not just the intrinsic, what you're at the time that you hit the strike date and whatever your target is and how much ever you're over. That's intrinsic value. But extrinsic value is a part of that time, right? You get paid for time. So I like to get out of things as quickly as I can whenever I think the momentum's slowing down, and I judge that based upon my strikes and just a number of other factors for every investment that I look at. So I don't like to get too greedy on stuff like that. I'd rather take my 500-600% gains. I know that might sound greedy, but with the way I play it, it's not really. And then go. Like I've got a target of potentially I could make $14 million theoretically off of Tesla if the options go to $900 over the next year and a half. Will I make that? No, I'll be out way before that. Will I make $5 million? I think I will. I only have to get to 425 for that to happen. So, but again, I don't try to go for the big grand slam. I'll just take the hits. Jason Lalk, thank you. There's 2026 calls that are still worth it. I think they're worth it, but look up the option video, Options 101 on Micro to Macro. That will be one of the things that's tagged inside of my Discord. Not doing Patreon because I don't think there's much point in it. But also these things have went up. I'm up 70% on them. So keep that in mind. It was a lot better when I was screaming from the rooftops for everybody to get in than it is right now. 94 Clips, just hit the like. Jason, thank you. C-List, BD, I thought so. Just last week, Jesse said he'd buy some options today, like 5 p.m. Eastern. I wanted to know in case. Not sure. All right. Yeah. So I think, guys, I'm probably done right now. I got to get ready for this other channel. I want to say hi to my wife, kiss my daughter real quick since she's back from school. So I do appreciate all of you guys, all of your support. I'm hoping we can rock things out here and make tons of money. And I'm excited about where we're headed next. I'm going to go ahead and play We Call Them Poor with Michael Saylor and my buddy Little Bubble, who lets me play his music. Thank you very much, sir. And we'll exit this with this. And so I will see you guys in a stream in a second talking about polling related data and politics if you're interested. Oh, didn't want to do that. Otherwise, though, you take it easy, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.
What do you do with the Bitcoin besides it just gather value?
Real estate developers in New York City, they're not buying the real estate because they want to live in it.
But like most of the people who are buying assets at some point want to sell the assets at a profit.
People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. There's a name for them. We call them poor. We call them poor. Okay. Right, like the point is if you have the superior asset, it's going up forever, Laura. Forever.
Right, but we can all look Bitcoin sort of as
forever, Laura. People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. There's a name for them. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor.